The story begins in 1963 in Turkey. A farmer was puzzled by a strange problem at his house. His chickens kept disappearing, but no one saw them leave, and there was no sign of them inside. Later, while repairing his house, he found something odd. He noticed a big hole in the wall behind the house, just large enough for the chickens to pass through. Curious, he took a hammer and chisel and made a hole bigger to see what was behind it. What he found was amazing. Behind the wall was a small space where his chickens were walking around. As he explored further, he discovered not just a couple of rooms, but a network of rooms and tunnels. He soon realized he hadn't just found a small cave, but an entire underground city. But who lived in this underground city? Why was it built? And how was it constructed hundreds of years ago? This is what we'll talk about in today's video. Soon after the discovery, the government sent an excavation team to explore the site. They found out that the farmer's house wasn't the only one with an entrance to the cave. In fact, 600 houses in the city of Derinkuyu had passages leading into this underground city. And the people living in these houses had no idea. But was this really a coincidence? Think about it. Could it be just a coincidence that 600 oldest houses in the cities had entrances to a big cave big enough to house an entire city? We are not exaggerating. The cave was so huge that around 20,000 people could live there comfortably. Now, let's try to understand the structure revealed in the excavations. Take a look at this image. It's a rough model of Derinkuyu's underground city. When explorers look at the full structure, they found a total of 18 levels that went about 280 feet below the surface. This whole underground city was well organized. There were tunnels, passages connecting different parts of the city, and every room was large enough to fit many families. There were proper air and ventilation systems for the people living underground. Over 15,000 air shafts, each 10 centimeters wide, were found throughout the city, letting fresh air reach even the 8th level without causing suffocation. In fact, if you look at the 8th level, you'll see that the rooms were designed for people to live and sleep in. The lower levels were mainly used for storage or possibly as dungeons. The city also had various other facilities like wine storage, shelters for animals, prayer rooms, and even prisons. This shows that the people living there could stay underground for months. It was truly an architectural wonder. But the question remains, how was it built without modern machines? The answer lies in the geology of the area. The region called Cappadocia, Turkey, is famous for two things: hot air balloons and its unique rock formation. The ground here is made of tough rocks, which are formed from volcanic ash that hardens over time. These rocks can be easily carved in by using simple tools like chisel and hammers, but they're strong enough to hold up large structures. This special landscape is one of the reasons why 200 underground cities have been found in the area. More than 40 of these cities had at least 2 levels, but Derinkuyu was the biggest of them all. Now, some of you might wonder what is the difference between levels and floors. To clarify, floors are the levels above ground, while levels are the stories below ground. But why was this underground city built in the first place, and how old it is? There are two main theories about this place, but one thing is certain: it was built to protect people from enemies. The way the houses were connected and led into the caves show that people needed a place to hide during attacks. This idea was supported by the large rolling stones found inside the cave, which were probably used to close off the city from the inside. Even if enemies enter the passage, they wouldn't know that there was a city hidden there. And if they managed to find it, the narrow passageways would make it easy for the city defenders to trap and defend the enemy soldiers. Many features at the entrance show that it was built with defense in mind. The further an intruder went inside, the more disadvantage the city defenders would have. So it's clear that this underground city was used to hide from attacks. But the question is, who were they hiding from? And the answer comes from one key fact. The final changes to the caves were made by Christians between the 6th and the 10th centuries. To find out who was attacking Christians during that time, we need to look at the Byzantine Empire. So this was the time when the Roman Empire was hunting down Christians. Instead of killing them quickly, they tortured them so severely that the Christians begged for death. Roman soldiers would go from villages to villages capturing Christians. To escape this cruelty, the Christians of this region might have discovered this underground city and used it to hide. And it worked. When the Roman soldiers came to the villages, they probably could not find anyone and thought that the village was abandoned. So they left. Even if someone found the caves, the city's defenses made it easy for the people to hide and avoid capture. Now, notice that I said that Christians discovered the city. That's because the city was already built before the Christians arrived. They have just added things like churches, schools, and wineries to make it more livable. But the big question is, who built the city originally and how old it is? Xenophon of Athens, a Greek military leader, wrote a book called Anubis in 370 BC. This book is the oldest text that talk about these caves, which means the city was built long before his time. But who built it? Two civilizations are often mentioned, the Hittites and the Phrygians. The best answer lies between these two. When archaeologists dug deeper into the underground city, they found many Hittite artifacts dating back to around 2000 BC, mostly in the upper levels. The architecture here also matched the time period. But there's a deeper connection between the Hittites and ancient India that many may not know. So you see, the Hittites were part of broader Indo-European migration, which scholars had long associated with the Aryans of ancient India. According to the Rig Veda, the earliest sacred Hindu text, the Aryans were a group of people that lived in the Indian subcontinent. However, after the Battle of 10 Kings, some group, rather than staying, began migrating westwards, eventually settling in the region like Anatolia, where the Hittites established their empire. This migration is also referenced in ancient Hindu scriptures like the Budhyana Sutra, which speaks of Aryans moving westwards out of India. Thus, while the Hittites evolved their own distinct civilization, they remained deeply tied to their Aryans, and by extension, Hindu heritage. But the story doesn't end here. The lower levels of the underground city reveal something more advanced, hinting at construction during the Iron Age. By then, the Hittites had vanished, wiped out by around 1180 BCE. So who continued the construction? This brings us to the Phrygians. Like the Hittites, the Phrygians were also an Indo-European group with roots tracing back to the same Aryan migration. They emerged as a dominant force in the region after the Hittites' fall, and they share several cultural connections with the early Aryans of India. Scholars suggest that they were part of the same wave of Indo-European tribes that migrated westwards, which is why their language also shares similarities with Sanskrit, and their religious practices echo through those found in the Vedic texts. Furthermore, they were known for their architectural skills that they carried from their Indian ancestors, which helped them shape much of the underground city. And this is not unlike the architectural and urban planning skills displayed in ancient Hindu civilizations, such as in the cities of Indus Valley, where Aryan influence were also present. After the Phrygians departed, Christianity later took over and maintained the underground city. But the Aryan legacy of the Hittites and the Phrygians remains embedded in its foundation. So if the city was still in use in the 1900s, how did people forget about it? The answer lies in history. Between 1919 and 1922, the Greco-Turkish War happened. After the war, a decision was made to send the Greek minority living in Turkey back to Greece and move Turkish people living in Greece back to Turkey. Since the caves were mostly used by the Greeks, the secrets of the underground city left with them when they were forced to leave. And as those people passed away, the knowledge of the city was lost. Eventually, after being hidden for years, the underground city was rediscovered in 1963, all thanks to some chickens. In 1965, it was opened to the public, and in 1985, it became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. However, the local Greeks didn't call the city Derinkuyu. They had another name for it. Do you know what it was? Let us know in the comments below. And if you have liked this video, then don't forget to check out our last video where we talk about an ancient Indian city that disappeared in a day. And please don't forget to subscribe and help us reach our goal of 200,000 subscribers by the end of year 2024. This is Harry signing off. Stay curious.